Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to part 2 of my Alclair review. In this video, I'll take more of a look into the sonic characteristics of these Alclair RSM quad driver IEMs and compare it to some of my other headphones, speakers, and in-ear monitors that I use or have used in the past. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, as promised, I kind of just listened to a lot of music on these, some of my mixes, some mixes out there that I knew were really great. And first impressions, they sound really good. Alclair kind of markets these as their flat response in-ear monitor, as opposed to some of their other models, which are kind of boosted in the lows or highs, or opposed to other brand in-ear monitors. And I think that's really what you get out of them. Like, you're not getting something that's hyped, so to speak. Like, what you give is what you get. However, that doesn't mean that what you get is something bad. These sound really balanced across the entire frequency spectrum, like really good lows, really good low mids, high mids, and highs. Being honest, I could do with a little bit more of that kind of top end, airy sheen, high end, but I think that's just more of a personal preference than a real sacrifice that you're getting. I think other audiophiles or engineers that will get this, which is really what it's marketed to, like front of house engineers, studio engineers, would get this and would really like it. I really think this is something that I could create a really great in-ear mix, front of house mix, studio mix on, because their response is just so flat and it just like gives you what you give it. Now, when it comes to some of the other listening sources, so to speak, or like headphones, in-ears that are out there on the market, bringing back my KZ ZAXs, I think they're called. Yeah, just the H driver model. Bringing back these back again, I think you can really tell that these in-ears specifically are colored. And that's something that I've known for a while. Like, it didn't take me having to listen to these to figure that out. I can tell that there's kind of like a boost in the low end, kind of a boost in like the high mids a little bit, which at times can get harsh depending on what I'm listening to. But I can tell there's a drastic difference in frequency response between these two, in terms of, like I mentioned before, these just being really flat and like really balanced, and you get what you give. Moving on to kind of these headphones on the other hand, which again is probably not the best comparison, but I think they're actually a lot closer than probably you think between like in-ears and the like professional grade studio mixing headphones. I think these are also, I wouldn't say colored, but I do think they have a little bit less mid-range and are a little brighter, in contrast to these especially. I listened to some of my mixes on these, and they did sound like they had a lot more mids, sometimes a little bit muddy, and these kind of sounded clearer on those same tracks that I listened to. But at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's not apples and apples. It's more like apples and oranges, trying to compare this and this, but they're really close. Like I said, I think I could get a really good mix out of these in-ears. Now, moving from apples and oranges to apples and airplanes, is these versus my HS8s. Now, my HS8s, I love them. I've done a lot of mixes on them, but they're a lot closer than you'd probably think. Being honest, if I were to put my HS8s into a in-ear form, I think I would get something very close to my Alclair RSM quad drivers. Like I said, I keep hinting at this word balance. They really give you a great picture of the entire frequency spectrum without adding anything that's not really there in the first place. When it comes to like a lot of low end, like I said in the KZs, they actually give me a very close picture to what I would get if I were listening to studio monitors. Now, final thoughts on these in-ears right here. Some things that are just not directly related to comparisons. These sound extremely wide. I was listening to some piano, like keyscape stuff, and I played kind of like the far left notes versus the far right notes, and they sounded so far away. Like, the stereo image on these things are crazy, which kind of doesn't even really make sense to me because they're like further in your ear, or I guess that probably is why it does make sense. But yeah, the stereo image that you get on this sounds really good. Another thing, listening to kind of some music where there was a lot of crowd singing going on, a lot of like background vocalists, I really felt like I was in the room with that recording while having these on, just because of how great the stereo image was and how great the isolation was from everything else that's going on inside my bedroom or like cars passing on the road. So I think that's a really good benefit for musicians playing on stage, is that you really get a lot of the isolation from the noise going on outside versus universal fit in ears. It also gives you a lot of protection for your ears, having these things molded perfectly to your ears, as a lot of that stage noise, if you're a front of house engineer, a lot of that crowd or just room noise, it's not constantly banging on your ears. Now, with all that said, are these worth $800? Honestly, it's very subjective. I think if you're in the market for them, or if you've saved up for them, I'd go and get them. I think it's a really great investment. However, I personally would not break the bank for them. I think getting a really good pair of universal fits, like I said, I've had these KZs for a while and they sound really good. They've served me for a while and they sound great. However, I think if you're really into kind of making that investment, stepping into the world of having custom in-ears will be a really great experience. Like, I don't think you'll ever regret having spent so much money. Now, gratefully, I got these on sale cause $800 is kind of crazy, but they're kind of worth it. If you guys are interested in seeing the entire process of what goes into actually designing your in-ears on Alclair's site, and then also getting your molds done, which was a very crazy experience, I will leave a link to my video that I did